If you train at a commercial gym, there's a very high chance they're using cheap barbells. And unfortunately, this is killing your gains. So in this video, I want to explain what these problems are and give you a solution in fixing them forever. First of all, you have to understand that commercial gyms are not strength and conditioning centers. Therefore, the equipment that you get is going to be of poor quality compared to something like a powerlifting gym. And the barbells, of course, are no exception to this rule. Typically speaking, what you're getting is the lowest quality barbell on the market, right? Very, very cheap, made from who knows where, and it's not designed to lift super heavy weights. So a guy like you who's striving for greatness, a guy like you who's striving to be the strongest version of himself, you're going to have problems when using these bars, whereas your average gym goer is not going to notice these little deficiencies. So let's break this down a little bit further. The first issue with these barbells would have to be the knurling. Now, for those who don't know, the knurling refers to that rough part of the barbell, or so it should be the rough part. Yet when you use these commercial gym bars, there's literally no texture. It's crazy. The texture is like a glass bottle. The knurling is as smooth as the smooth, which doesn't make logical sense. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that when you go do any pull, whether it be deadlifts and rows, the bar is going to slip out of your hands. And not because of your grip strength, but because of the efficiency in the bar itself. See, you can't grip onto something when it doesn't have a fucking knurling. How do you want to lift heavy when there's no texture to the bar? When it's smooth, smooth, smooth. It cannot be done. And that's why all high quality bars have good knurling. Now, of course, some bars will be more aggressive in knurling than others. I believe the Texas Power Bar has more knurling than the Eleiko bar, right? Yet the Eleiko is far more expensive. So I'm not saying that it has to be really, really aggressive, otherwise it's worthless. What I am saying is that the bars that you use in the commercial gym don't have enough knurling. It is way too low, and it is absolute fucking garbage compared to the high quality bars that you get. So that is something that you always have to look out for when getting a barbell. Look at the knurling. Is it of good quality? I mean, look up some reviews of some good quality bars, and the knurling is something that people always talk about. Yet, when you use these regular bars, the knurling is so bad that it is costing you so much weight. It is guaranteed to cost you weight on your deadlifts and rows. And that's why a lot of guys, they use straps on these commercial gym bars, and then when they go to a powerlifting meet, they don't have grip issues, because now the grip is actually on point, right? The second major issue with these bars is what I like to describe as the rolling thunder effect. Now, over time, these cheap bars are going to begin to roll in the center, and this has to do with the sleeves being degraded to a large extent. Now, do not confuse this for minimal friction. Minimal friction is something that you desire in a high quality bar, right? Such as the Eleiko, for instance. So when I talk about bar rolling, I'm specifically referring to the center of it, not the sleeves, that they roll uncontrollably during your set. Now, this causes major issues in pulls and in presses too. When you press, for example, the bar is going to roll in your hand, which will cause you to bend your wrist back. And it can actually cause the bar to fall out of your hands and crush your fucking sternum. And this has happened to a lot of guys, actually, in commercial gyms. When they bench press, the bar does this in their hand. So it's very unstable, it's very unsafe. It is definitely not optimal for your leverages, because now you're going to have your wrist bending all over the place, and it's not safe. And then when you deadlift, how do you want to lift heavy when you have a bar rolling like crazy? Already, when you do double overhand, the bar is going to roll a little bit. And even when you use mixed grip, it cannot save you from the rolling effect. In fact, even if you use straps, sometimes the bar is going to roll out. You have to make sure that you secure it extremely well. So the rolling thunder effect is very, very problematic, and it's something that will happen to very cheap bars as they become bent, as they become degraded with time. And think about it, right? You have guys that go to gym, hundreds walking in every single day, 100 using that bar. It's already of cheap quality. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to roll uncontrollably in your hands. Again, do not confuse the rolling effect for the sleeves. The sleeves are supposed to roll nice and smoothly. I'm talking about the center, where it gives you a rolling thunder effect. The rolling thunder, like I said, is an apparatus that it rolls in your hand and prevents you from lifting heavy, okay? And then the final issue with these barbells would have to be the bending that occurs. Listen, the quality, man, is so bad that when you even use like anything remotely heavy, the bar begins to bend. And as we all know, once a bar is bent, it is pretty much unusable after that point. And that's why a lot of strength and conditioning coaches have their athletes pull off blocks rather than the rack, because the rack, when it's steel on steel and the bar's floating in the air like that, tends to cause more bar bending. Because guys know very well that when that bar bends, it's never going to be the same ever again. The way the bar flexes, the way you pull the slack out, the way you grab it, it's just going to change so much that it's pretty much a worthless bar at that point. Or not worthless, but it changes the game forever. And unfortunately, when you use these cheap barbells, they're going to bend extremely easily, especially when you do rack pulls, especially when you do anything that is remotely heavy. If you're going to do any overloading exercises using these commercial gym bars, say hello to bar bending. And after that point, it just gets worse and worse. And in fact, bar bending will even fuck up the sleeves. And when the sleeves get screwed up, that will further contribute to bar rolling. Remember that rolling thunder effect? Bar bending accentuates it even more. And that's why, like, you gotta invest in a good quality bar. You gotta make sure that you're not using these cheap pieces of shit that will bend like crazy, that will roll like crazy, that have terrible knurling, okay? A good quality bar, you might bend a little bit, it might flex a little bit, but it's not gonna become like a fucking buffalo bar. A commercial gym bar will become a buffalo bar if you use it over time, or it's gonna become so bent that it becomes unusable after that point. So that's one of the major issues right there. And it's interesting because when you use a good quality bar, you can load up like 1,000 plus and the bar does not bend. It stays in good condition. That's because the weight capacity is very good. It's similar to a neck harness that breaks when you start going heavy. I know in the past when I used to use this cheap neck harness, it broke with only 90 pounds, all right? Whereas if you use something like the Iron Mind neck harness, it's not gonna break with 90 pounds, and actually it can actually support over 300, no problem. So it's the same thing with barbells. Some bars can hold more weight than others, and if it can't, then it's just going to end up bending, which is going to cost you your gains. So far, we've identified 3 issues with these conventional bars. Number 1, the knurling is terrible. 2, the bar is going to roll uncontrollably in your hand, aka the rolling thunder effect. Then thirdly, the bar is going to bend like crazy, which is going to further contribute to rolling, which is going to further make it hard to grab onto that bar correctly. So what do you do when all these things are going on? Well, you only have a few options. The first option is to actually invest in a high quality bar and bring it to your gym. That's right, you buy your own barbell and bring it to the gym. I know a lot of powerlifters do this in their commercial gym. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you invest in the right type of bar. I recommend you either go to Rogue Fitness or Elite FTS, and that you spend no less than about $250, $300 USD, right? But I would personally, if I were to own a home gym, if I was gonna bring my own bar to the gym, I would spend more than 300 easily, because the barbell is not an item that you should be cheap on. Never buy a cheap barbell. So that's one option right there. You could bring your own barbell to the gym. It's like the fucking samurai. That is your sword. The barbell is your sword. So that's one option right there. The second option is to, guess what? Start using straps, which, you know what, is a pretty logical option, because if you strap up, you can always do your grip work at the end of your training. And as I said in the beginning of this video, if you actually do compete in a sport, the knurling of the bar is going to be so good, and there's going to be no rolling, no bending, that it's going to be easy to grab. It's not going to be a grip issue after that point. So you know what? I think it's extremely feasible to use straps in your training. I think it's very feasible for doing deadlifts with straps, doing rows with straps, because you can always do your grip work later. I know lots of great powerlifters do this. Pete Rubish does this. You know, even Johnny Candido in his video made the point that commercial bars are so bad that you might as well just train with straps, do some grip work later, and then when you go to powerlifting meet, the bars are going to be so on point that it's never going to slip out of your hand. And I 100% agree with Johnny's statement, you know? So I think it makes logical sense to use straps, given all the things that is going on. Like, think about it. You got a bar that's bending, a bar that's rolling, a bar that has no knurling. How the fuck do you want to maximize your potential? Would you really sacrifice your gains like that? Like, what logical sense is there to be pulling normally with these bars? Why would you want to go 100% raw? You know, even chalk and mixed grip is not going to save you, nor is the hook grip. When you have all these factors I discussed, the bar is a piece of trash. So you have 2 options. Either you buy your own barbell and you bring that shit to the gym, you invest it for the gym, or you use some fucking straps. Otherwise, to me, that is just being foolish. It doesn't make logical sense. Buy some straps, some $20 straps, bring it to the gym, and get rid of these grip issues. Because like I said, it's not your forms that are weakness. It's a deficiency in the barbell, right? You can't lift heavy when you got that rolling thunder effect. You can't lift heavy when the bar is bending like crazy. Once the bar is bent, it's pretty much ruined. That's why coaches make you pull off blocks rather than the rack. So yeah, man, I think it just makes logical sense to either buy your own barbell or use straps, because I don't see the logic in going raw all the time when you have a deficiency in the barbell, when it's not even you, when it's not even your grip strength. Listen, I don't care how strong you are. I don't care if you pull 1,000 pounds. If you use a commercial gym barbell and you're an elite puller or you're very strong, you're going to be limited. You are absolutely, without a doubt, bleeding out strength gains on your rows and on your deadlifts. I can absolutely promise you, 100%. So don't be foolish. Either get your own bar or put on some straps. Don't be foolish. It doesn't make logical sense in these situations like this. Now, if you train at a gym that actually has good barbells, congratulations. I envy you. I wish my gym had bars like that. In that case, you probably don't need straps. But if you're subjected to the cheap bars that these commercial gyms buy, you know what? Just fight it. Fight against it. Use some fucking straps. Be logical, all right? So that's it for today's video. I hope you learned a thing or two about commercial gym bars, right? And why you should be very careful when using them. In summary, the knurling is a terrible thing. The rolling thunder effect is a terrible thing. And the bar bending is a terrible thing. So either buy your own barbell, invest in straps, and eliminate this problem forever. So I hope you enjoyed this video. With that, I will talk to you all next time. And by the way, fuck these goddamn airplanes, man. As I filmed this fucking video, I must have seen 10 fucking airplanes in the goddamn, what, 12 minutes? No exaggeration, 10 fucking airplanes. You have no idea how many goddamn cuts I had to make. Because these airplanes, airplane. That's one of the main reasons why I don't film outside. Because these fucking airplanes. Must have been 10 at least. No joke. It must have been at least 10 airplanes within these last 10 minutes. Like, fuck. What are you doing to the goddamn environment? All these people say, oh, fuck. And there's I'll tell you something else, right? I'm in a little field right now. There's fucking bees all around me. There's bees, there's wasps, there's all kinds of fucking shit. I even got there's a tree above me, right? And I got ants falling on my fucking neck. So that's why I don't film outside all the time. Oh, and I got a church. You hear the church bell?